All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to my end of the league showcase build. So a few days ago, I made a build basically showing off that I could do everything, and in the past week, I made some upgrades, and I actually hit level 100 for the first time, and I thought that was pretty exciting. So yeah, with that said, I'm gonna go over some of my gear, and if you want to play it, I'll leave a POB link in the description. So just if you're not interested in me explaining what the gear is, how to get it, and or what priority stats you should go for, you can just check the link in the description. And at the end, I'll show some clips of me doing all the Uber bosses, some tier 17s and everything. So yeah, overall, I thought this was a really fun league, and I usually like to make these videos as kind of a diary more than a guide. So I could look back on it and be like, hey, I did this before. And so this league, I basically went 40 out of 40. I actually thought the challenges were pretty easy this league compared to some previous ones. But yeah, so this is the end game build, and I'll talk about some item replacements you guys can get as well. So, okay, I decided to go for the more defensive playstyle compared to other leagues where I just went glass cannon and melted bosses. So I took a little bit of inspiration from other people's builds and then changed up a few things. So what I did was the Ice Nova of Frostbolts, and there's a few ways to play this. You could go kind of like offensively and just build more damage, or you can go more defensively, and I chose defensively. By that I mean full 90 resistances, 100% spell suppress, and you know, a lot more avoidance, elemental ailments avoidance. So more or less on the hardcore side of it without being hardcore, because I just like to have fun and not stress myself out. But I like the tankier playstyle. So anyway, how did I build it? Where do we go from here? So I went with the lightning coil, and the reason why is because physical damage taken from hits as lightning damage, very nice. Plus you'll be stacking a lot of lightning resist plus overcapping it, which is really awesome as well. So if you don't want to do this one, you could just go with a rare chest and go for more life, mana, whatever, spell suppress, and all that stuff. But I chose this one. Some extra things I have is +1 to all maximum resistances. That's really what you want. You could go for the extra if you have extra currency. I went for a +2 socketed AoEs, which is really just Ice Nova Frostbolt. Your main ability is +2. And then it also, bonus from Intensify, which, whatever. But mostly for that. If you can't find this one, critical strikes, reduced critical strike damage is also a good one. Any other resistances you may need, or just more damage, whatever. But ideally, you just want +1 to all maximum resistances. Yeah, and so that's that. There are people that like to go for the Katava's Thirst, and so I actually played that one as well. So this is the one I had. What you want with this one is the 0.5 lightning damage leached as life if you're playing this one. So the difference is, if you're using the Katava's Thirst, it's like a 1-button build versus a 2 or 3. And so I actually really enjoyed this one. Like, 1 button was nice, and then I switched over to a rare one, which means you have to play 2 buttons, but realistically it's not that bad. A lot of the skills you have are automated, and I'll teach you how to do that as well. So there's that. If you want the Katava's Thirst 1-button build, that's good, but the downside is it doesn't have a lot of stats. So the trade-off is like you're losing a lot of damage and survivability, but you press 1 button and things get deleted. It's also still good. Okay, so yeah, from what I got here, +2 to maximum lightning resistances. You're probably going to have to Orb of Conflict that one. It's kind of a hassle, but there's ways to get around it as well. And more physical damage hit from hits taken as lightning damage, so you're stacking that one up on your 90% resist. Always nice. Ideally, your stats you want are life, mana, whatever resist you need, and spell suppress. And then anything else is a bonus. So, Amulet, I chose the Atziri's Foible. This is just whatever people used. And then there are a few different anoints that you can use with it. Some Melding of the Unyielding or something that's called. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, it's here. It should be Disciple of the Unyielding. So this one, it allows you to have +1 minimum endurance charge, and then you have 8% damage per endurance charge. And the reason why that's good is you have 4 permanently from just being a Hierophant in general. So you have +4, so that's huge damage. So if you're going for the more offensive route, you could do that one. I chose Mind Drinker simply because it gives 20% maximum mana and recover 2 mana on kill. So mana is basically your survivability and damage. So I like to see the big number go bigger, so that's why. In terms of accessories and jewelry, rings, basically what you're gonna get here is basically all life, mana, resists, cast speed if you can, and then anything else is a bonus. So that's about it. All resist, life, mana, high priority. Anything else is a bonus. So the wands. Okay, so these are kind of expensive. I did play around with the new enchant for this league for the settlers, and one is called Haunted by Tormented Spirits. Now this one is a little bit RNG, so it's also very expensive. It's like 100+ divs to get this enchant, and I feel like GGG may have like overcomplicated the whole enchanting thing in the King's March, simply because everything is hard to get, especially the power runes and everything. So I feel like by the time people get to play with all the fun like enchants like this one, you already have all the gear, so it's not like helping you, it's just nice and really fun to play with. So I've done all the content. You can watch my old videos before I even had this enchant. It's just nice to have. What does it actually do? You know that Tormented Ghost in the maps that you see? It has a whole list of buffs that you can get, and so you're just gonna have to read it on the wiki, and it gives you one random one per map, and you know, sometimes it gives you health, more damage, speed, and everything, so it's actually strong, but by the time you get it, you don't really need it. But yeah, for wands, what kind of stats do you look for? Cast speed, spell damage, mana. Those are the 3 priority. Anything else that you can get are like damage per endurance charges, because you get more endurance charges here, so more damage, and chance to deal double damage, which you can craft yourself, which is always nice. And the other one that I have is basically the same, but you get the deal double damage while focused, which is this ability right here. So if you have like that stat, it gives you a skill called focus, and then you push the button, and then you have a chance to do more damage. And then trigger a socketed spell when you use a skill with an 8-second cooldown. So what you want to put on this one is like Sigil of Power, Frost Shield, and Punishment. So basically, here's what it looks like. Keep in mind, all of these are auto-casted. So you press like one button, and then like you press all of these, and then auto-cast it. One button build, basically. So yeah, if you like pushing all the buttons yourself, you don't have to do that. You could just add another chance to deal double damage. Always cool. And yeah, so belt, obviously Mage Blood. Let me just show you what I had before. Where is it? So yeah, I used this belt before getting a Mage Blood. I did all the Ubers, tier 17s, my first time without a Mage Blood. So you don't need it. It's just nice to have. So yeah, all you want on there, life, mana, resists. Anything else is bonus. And gloves, suppress spell damage, high priority, life, mana, resists. The enchants or the Eldritch mods you have are lightning damage, leech does life. That's your life regen for the most part. And chance to unnerve enemies for 4 seconds on hit. It could go a little bit higher, but essentially it's good enough because Orb of Conflicts are expensive, and I didn't feel like pushing further. So choose action speed, chance to avoid elemental ailments. The reason why we ideally want over 50% chance to avoid elemental ailments, simply because over here you want to avoid all these, and it's basically over 100. That means you're permanently immune to it. So yeah, that's also good. You could self-craft this one. There's a essence where you can get avoid elemental ailments, and then craft the enchant for that, which is the Eater of Worlds Exceptional. I think it starts at like 17% or something, and then you can craft upwards. So definitely depends on what you do, but you always want suppressed spell damage and life mana. Movement speed is as nice as you can get. So how do we get 100%? Because we are capped at 100% spell suppression, what we have is Ancestral Vision, which allows modifiers to chance to suppress spell damage to avoid elemental. So basically, if you're capped, you get 50%, and then the other 50% plus from your boots, and then you are immune to that. So very huge defensively. The next thing we have is Melding of the Flesh. Now, this is one that you should only really get once you are past the point of you have a Mage Blood, because it's very hard to cap otherwise. So, yeah, ideally you want to have -4 elemental resist and then close to -70 and not 80. So the reason why we have that one is because we only focus on 1 or 2 elemental resists instead. And instead of, like, it builds a free slot or a stat line. So you want this one if you have a Mage Blood. So you're probably wondering, okay, so how do you get the 90% all resistances? So 75 by default, capping it out with gear. You get another 5% from here, from your Topaz Flask. And this is why you want to have the Mage Blood, is simply because you have this up permanently 100% of the time. If you don't, you just, it's kind of sketch, but you can still do it without it. Just put the other flask on, or the other, what is it? Let me show you, like these thingies. Use when charge reaches full. So yeah, so that's what we have. 75 plus 5 is another 80. And then you're gonna, I use Purity of Lightning. Some people use like Wrath or something for more damage. Once again, I chose more defensively. So you kind of do have to have a level 23 Purity of Lightning to get to 5% additional maximum lightning res. So the way you get it is level 21 gem and then Empower 3. I just chose 4 because I decided I wanted to hit mine, and then it just went up. So ideally, all you want is Empower 3, and then you can get like level 23, which gives you +5. So we're at 85% right now, right? And then you get another 1% from your chest, which is 86. Another 2% from your lightning resist, which is 88. And then there's another one over here, which is, oh yeah, so the Glorious Vanity Jewel we have, you just want Doriani, and then if you know how to use the Timeless Jewel Calculator, you could find the stats you want. So the stats I went for were basically spell damage. If you want more resistances, you can do that one. Mana is always good, but ideally you just want spell damage for more damage, mana, regen, cast speed. So then ideally you also want the Cult of the Lightning, which is very important, +1 to maximum, and that's another 1 to the list over there. So I think I'm missing +1 from somewhere, but I don't remember where. Either way, it works out somewhere. Anyway, so those are the gear I had. I use a Pro Genesis. You don't need this. It's just really for the defensive thing. In theory, for bossing one-on-one, a regular health flask would be better. So what I used before that was straight up this thingy. Like, just a normal health flask, and then it's good enough. For mapping, this one is really good. The reason why I bought this one is, 1, because Pro Genesis is very tanky and is like very useful for mapping. But 2, because I wanted to foil and, you know, the shiny, and it looks nice. So I kind of overpaid for this one a few days ago. But it is like increased duration. That's all you really want. But when you have a very high map clear speed, this is all you get. So yeah, it's nice to have. Do you need it? No, but I just like the shiny, and then that's why I bought it. Other than that, onslaught, phasing, and suppressed spell damage is more, and then all resistances from there. So that's how I got all of those. Other jewels that I have are Light of Meaning, which is basically this league's version of like Parandus Pact or whatever from last one. So there are a few options you can go for. One being 6% to all lightning damage within everything here. So if you want more like big offense, you could do that one. I just like the maximum mana because it's over 10,000. And then over here we have the Unnatural Instinct. Allocated small passives do nothing but grant all the bonuses. That's actually a lot of stats when you look at it over here. So yeah, it is a very expensive jewel, but it also is very nice to have. And our Watcher's Eye is over here. So we have basically 2 clarity mods. One, damage taken from mana before life, which is why we stack mana. And 9% of maximum mana is as extra energy shield, which is also really nice. So basically it's very survivable. This is a very tanky build. Doesn't do as much damage as some others, but you will survive a lot of things. So yeah, that's about it. What else is there to talk about? We talked about the gear, talked about like everything else. So what did I do? How did I get to level 100? What did I do on my Atlas this league? All right, so for the most part, I did Strongbox Scarabs because, you know, if you're at endgame, you kind of juice maps, and then Scarabs kind of help with that. Strongboxes are always nice. The things I played with for fun are Ultimatum and Expedition. For Ultimatum, I would not recommend this as like a beginner just because it is kind of difficult. You need some really decent gear. And Expedition, I never really played the full like league, but the one thing I really enjoyed was the number of explosives is 1. So big explosion, big, huge AoEs. So that's what I liked about that. So Expedition's pretty fun. Ultimatum is, it could be good if you're good at it. And then Betrayal and Scarabs. Betrayal is pretty decent for leveling. And then, of course, Scarabs because you need everything. But for the most part, you know, if you're just going for like money and currency and everything, Strong with Scarabs is the way to go. And let me see, am I missing anything? Oh yeah, the other jewel right down here is cannot be maimed or hindered. Is it really a big deal? No, not really. But I mean, to prevent that permanently is just nice. So yeah, that's about it. Other than that, you're like mind over matter, and then everything else is defensive, and you're good. So with that said, before I go, I want to teach you how to play this build just in case you want to play it yourself. I will say this is not like a beginner league starter build. You could do it, but I'd recommend like, you know, building up some currency and then doing it. So how do you play this build? Frostbolts. This is your main spammable. I use Arcanist brand because this one allows the Frostbolts to come out. So that's where you get the Frostbolts over here. So basically you lay down your like these thingies, the Arcanist brands, and then they attach to an enemy and then they shoot out the Frostbolts. And then you saw how like I have all these things going out. That's because it's connected to when I use mana, you use Sigil, Power, Frost Shield, and Punishment. These are your auto casts. It's a few buttons less to build. And then you get your focus, which is over here. When you focus, this is what it looks like. You have the little icon above your head, and then it provides bonus. And then, of course, you just kind of spam your Ice Nova, because that's your main spammable. And then Arcanist brands to AoE things even further. Focus when you're on bosses. And the auras you have, Purity of Lightning, Clarity, and Automation. Automation is on here for your Arcane Cloak and Arcane Surge. Sometimes I think that Arcane, like which one is it? The one that Arcane Cloak, when it eats like a huge chunk of your mana, if you get hit by that, it goes off, and you get hit by a boss, that's kind of sus, but you know, ultimately it doesn't happen as often. Other than that, that's the build. I will say, if you are going for the Haunted by Tormented Spirits, it's really fun. It is pretty decent, but by the time you get enough currency for that, it's just nice to have. You don't need it. It's just a bonus. But that's about it. Yeah, I think overall this was a fun league for me. I'll still be playing. I'll be testing out a few things, but I think for the most part my gear is done. Yeah. And then, of course, your awakened abilities that Awakened Spell Echo is it's really nice, but it's expensive. So if you just use regulars, you'll be fine. Well, with that said, I'll leave some clips of some tier 17s and Ubers, and hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Some ingenious designs hidden in his memories. Observe. Darkness surrounds us. Felder's designs were flawed. Do you remember dying here? Will. Turn away. Sin surrounds you. Feel the pull of the void. Yes, that's it. Yes, sin. What are you? This, the realm of the past. I am king, and you will bow. This one is my own creation. Darkness surrounds us. Plenty more where that came from. Face your destruction. Sin surrounds you. Turn away, sin. Feel the pull of the void. Yes, that's it. Yes, sweet sin. No! Impossible! How? This isn't over. This will never be over. I will unify humanity.
Your absurd defiance ends here, hatchling.
The appointed time is here. Victory will be ours.
Annihilation. The fires of 1,000 suns. You do not have the strength, hatchling.
That may be, but I am not alone.
How pathetic. Annihilation. The fires of 1,000 suns. Disintegration. Cleansing. Annihilation. The fires of 1,000 suns. Annihilation. Incineration. Annihilation.
Many others arrived to challenge me for this realm.
This is not the battle you can win, hatchling. Succumb. Perish. I think mass. Inescapable doom.
Energize the spheres. Energize the spheres. Be gone.
Succumb. Riding glass. Escape
Until the
from
others arrive to challenge me for this realm.
I may not reject.
Father, no!
Putrefy, rot, spoil, and fester.
Exile, do something!
Ultimate chaos.
I see you, little one. Don't belong here. Run along.
Die in awe! The touch of God!
Turn back, trespasser. Cease this madness. You tamper with things you do not understand. Recklessness will not go unpunished. This is your final warning. You force my hand again, little loves. So be it. You've chosen to side with chaos. This is my world, and you shall obey my order. Imperfect!
He's trying to recover. Hurry! Let's find a way back.
Behold the face of your unmaking!
Father, it's me. Let me help you.
The horror must be stopped. Obstacles destroyed! Ultimate chaos! Inconsequential.
He's recovering. We need to find a way back quickly.
Memories are mine. I cannot lose them.
They lied to you, Father. I'm your true memory.
To save the future, the past must be sacrificed. Ultimate chaos. Irrelevant!
you really think this would work?
Creation itself! Glorious flames!
What's this? A real challenge. You've finally caught my attention.
Your lives are meaningless! Embrace nothing. Rain of
The
stars!
others found strength in their projections. They became reliant on it.
Why run? What's the point? Obliteration! Creation itself!
Is life really interesting enough to warrant all this pain?
Beyond, there is only horror. Why run? What's the point? Rain of stars! Creation itself! Glorious
Yet
flames!
futility of your efforts.
Die. I have seen beyond. Why run? What's the point? Pointless. Be utterly annihilated. Rain of stars!
Your death, my heart races. I am.
Everlasting fire!
King.
Is an illusion. I have seen beyond. Silent.
The prize piece comes to join.
My collection.
Stand still. A cascade of pain. Stand still.
Pain will be returned tenfold. Space aligns. Behold my collection.
I will have what I want. It will not be an escape. Scurry, scurry.
Death made real.
Stand still.
resistance will be punished. Time controls. Scurry, scurry.
My irritation is growing. Do what I say. Death will not be an escape. Scurry, scurry. The prettiest piece makes the whole come. A cascade of pain. Do what I say. Stand still.
Death made real.
Do what I say. A cascade of pain.
Death made real.
Oh!
Stop resisting. Reality bends. Punishment inescapable.
Arrogant toy. Death will not be an escape. Scurry, scurry. Stand still. Take this. A cascade of pain. Do what I say. Stand still. A cascade of pain. My collection. Stand still.
Caretaker? 3! The living toy must enjoy our contests, for it continues to play. You and I should do this again soon.
Children.
gone! Inevitable! You will know pain! I will bathe this world in blood! Impressive, but futile. Swift death! You will know pain! The inevitable.
Death will never come for an immortal. Mortal. Your soul burns for me. Mortal. Feel death's grip. Give your soul to me. Your soul burns for me. Darkness walks. Mortal. Feel death's breath. Give your soul to me. Your soul burns for me.
You shall be remade! You shall be remade!